Hey there, if you're enjoying the weekly weather and want to support the podcast, all you have to do is like, rate, review, or subscribe. Reviews for the podcast keep it in the algorithm's mind. And if you're in the algorithm's mind, you can do anything in this economy. I also have additional content outside of the show that goes out on a weekly, monthly, and whenever there's a retrograde basis. But honestly, giving the podcast some love via rating and sharing is just as helpful as monetary support. So thank you to all the people who take a minute or two to tap their screen and say something nice. If you thought last week's forecast would be the height of February, then you haven't heard this week's forecast yet. Let's get into it so we can see what week 3 of February has in store. Last week, it was all about Saturn ingressing into Aries. This week, it's all about the eclipse. Honestly, each week in February has had a major astrological shift or two, and this week is no different with the new moon eclipse in Aquarius. The new moon is a big deal for a couple reasons. One, it marks the Lunar New Year and the beginning of the year of the fire horse, which, being a Sagittarius and being born under the year of the horse, makes it feel pretty cool to me personally. And two, this new moon is an eclipse, and this eclipse is the first one to kick off the eclipse cycle within the Aquarius-Leo axis. The Pisces-Virgo eclipse axis still has a good bit to go. I'd say we're halfway through that cycle. So this Aquarius eclipse is just going to be a little preview. It's a little snippet of what that cycle will be bringing. I wouldn't go off and fully focus on this area of life just yet, but maybe make a mental note of it, write things down that happen around this time if you're into journaling or tracking astro events. The axis of Pisces and Virgo is still the main point of the lunar node's interest, but we are dipping our toes into a different cycle with this new moon, so be open to what it brings because it might be something totally different than what you've been working with or what you would have expected based on previous eclipses. Just a reminder, eclipses are like lunar events on steroids. It has to do with the relationship between the sun, moon, and the lunar nodes. There's a whole mythology behind that relationship that's super interesting, and it's something I teach in my lunar nodes class with my students. But basically, the sun and moon have a really tense relationship with Rahu and Ketu, better known as the north and south nodes. This tension creates instability around lunar events, which then causes these otherwise typical new and full moons to become something that instills fear, brings omens, upheavals, and unearths information. I'd say that's the main thing to take away from an eclipse, is that it's an unearthing of information. I like that framing of eclipses because there does tend to be a little fear around them, both historically and in modern times. So putting it in the perspective of an event that reveals information makes it feel less foreboding. The information being revealed during this eclipse will have to do with the realm of Aquarius, fixed air. Again, this is just the beginning of this cycle, and this is a new moon, so it's going to be more about leveling the land, making the playing field even and fair, and ready to plant something new within this area of life. If you receive my zine, then you can read about this in more detail, but just know that the realm of Aquarius is being wiped clean, and how we do that will come from whatever information we receive. Since this is an air sign, it's likely going to come in the form of a mental shift rather than something outside of ourselves. But house placement does matter with how that manifests. You're going to be thinking differently and suspending what I would say are kind of deeply held sentiments or beliefs within the realm of Aquarius. Be open to new information and you'll be fine. That's all I really have to say about the eclipse. Don't fear it. Be open to the new information and allow it to permeate the realm of Aquarius as it needs to in order to create a clearer landscape for the future. The new moon eclipse hits us pretty early in the week. It's a Tuesday. You might feel the rumblings already if you're listening to this on Sunday or Monday, but Tuesday will likely be the height of the event itself, and then it'll wane come the weekend. Don't forget what you learn, but don't let it linger to the point of messing with your entire week. Remember, this is just the start of this eclipse cycle. We still have the Pisces-Virgo cycle to close out and deal with. This eclipse marks the start of a few things, but it also closes out something. It closes out Aquarius season. On Wednesday, the sun says, I've had enough of this bullshit, and it ingresses into Pisces. Pisces season officially begins, which means our consciousness itself will be shifting from the realm of fixed air to mutable water. I am very excited to experience Pisces season for the first time in a few years without the influence of Saturn. Venus and Mercury are both there as well, making this a really beautiful time to sink into the energy of mutable water and poke around in that area of life now that Saturn isn't putting a bunch of rules and limitations on everything. Venus is also going to be conjunct Rahu on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is giving a major exalted boost to this area of life. Even though the eclipse will be happening, Pisces season is going to feel super sweet, super squishy, and we need to really explore this area of life. I can't say that enough. Next week, there's going to be a retrograde happening in Pisces, so this week is about really tuning in and seeing what it feels like now that Saturn's gone and what we can do to further implement the wisdom we learned over the last few years, but also make it more personal and maybe even add a little sparkle, a little zest. Early to midweek holds most of the major energy with the eclipse and Pisces season kicking into high gear. There is something towards the end of the week that would be good to note, though. That's a conjunction with Saturn and Neptune in Aries. I'm not used to saying Saturn in Aries yet because I've been saying Saturn in Pisces since 2023, so it feels weird, but it is correct. This is one of the first major aspects that Saturn has made since it ingressed into Aries less than a week ago, just a few days ago. Saturn meeting up with Neptune was inevitable since they've been traveling relatively close for a while now, but Saturn is finally going to start putting real distance between itself and Neptune over the next few months. Before it creates distance, though, it has to pass by Neptune. That's just the lay of the land. It has to pass Neptune in order to create that distance, which is what we're working with now. Saturn and Neptune together are this weird grounding of logic and reason, but in something that isn't real or taking illusions and daydreams way too seriously. It's messy stuff. Our minds and imaginations can get carried away, and what we're feeling and our memories and nostalgia, it can all feel super real. We felt this before in Pisces, and it honestly kind of got a little familiar, but now that it's in Aries, we're going to need to relearn the illusion all over again. This aspect is full force on Friday, which means going into the weekend, the realm of Aries might be a place that you feel a little uneasy or like your imagination is getting away from you. This can incite unnecessary haste or anger. Don't daydream yourself into a tizzy. This conjunction reminds me of when you have those fake shower arguments with yourself where you're working through some kind of situation or emotion and the fake argument gets a little too real and then you just hurt your own feelings or you feel more mad than when you started. Don't let that happen. Try not to do that. Saturn and Neptune being conjunct in Aries is a totally different beast than when it was in Pisces. It has the ability to turn into the angry coach or the voice in our heads that is really critical, but not at all constructive. Basically, if you're feeling really in your head towards the end of the week and on the weekend, and it's in a way that's not productive or helpful, get out of your head. Go do something in the physical world to ground that energy and dispel the illusion that Neptune is casting as Saturn passes by. This Saturn and Neptune angry illusion energy is going to linger with us until about the end of March, and that's when there's going to finally be enough distance between the two for it to no longer really be impacting us. But this week really starts the height of the bullshit and the illusions within the realm of Aries. It can feel isolating, and it can feel, like I said, more critical than constructive and helpful. So if you are someone that is now going through your Saturn return or in the height of your Sati Sati, this illusion that's happening as Saturn passes Neptune, it can be part of what you need to work on. It can be part of the struggles that you're going to face over the next couple years. It's really confusing. It's disorienting. We don't have the answers yet. Saturn just ingressed into Aries. This confusion, there's no way to solve it. So like I said, just try to ground yourself and get out of your head. It can feel isolating and it can feel more critical than constructive and helpful. So as you're feeling this, you need to ground yourself in reality, not get swept up in the rage bait illusion, the fear-mongering daydream that Neptune is projecting. Just do something, whatever it is, that helps you stay grounded. I hope you have a lovely week and that the eclipse unearths something useful for you. Even if you don't understand what that information is or how it can be helpful, hold on to it, bookmark it, write it down. Keep it someplace safe because it will come back around when the Aquarius Leo eclipse axis is in full force. That won't be until next year, but there will be another eclipse in the axis in August, but it's just on the Leo end of things that time. Stay open to what the eclipse reveals and how it attempts to change your mind about something, and enjoy the newfound freedom within the realm of Pisces. That's the main thing from my perspective this week. Enjoy the realm of Pisces with Venus there and its exalted goodness. The eclipse is important. Yes. The illusions of Saturn and Neptune. Yes, we have to deal with that as well. But Pisces season is here and now, and it's got this fresh lease on life. So enjoy it, explore it, and learn how to take up space in that area of life now that Saturn is gone. Have a great week, and I'll meet you back here next time. Thank you for tuning into this week's forecast. If you want a more detailed look at what this week's astro weather holds for you personally, go to my website, moonmattersastrology.com, and sign up to receive my zine. You can also find me on Patreon by searching for Moon Matters. The best way to keep up to date with my work or to book a reading with me is to sign up for my mailing list on my website. I'll meet you back here next week, but until next time, later days.